In an ever-changing world, Conscious Co-Creation Productions presents a voice of truth and inspiration, resonating a vibration of love and understanding, illuminating new paths for new directions, as we, as one, strive for higher and higher planes of existence. Always remembering, life changes. This is radio like you've never felt before. Life Changes with Filippo. And now, your host, Filippo Voltaggio.
Thank you, Mark, for that. It's a nice intro, and I am excited to be with all of you again today. I am thinking how I love my computer. No, seriously, I love my computer. I love the internet. I love what we could do with it. And I love how we're all connecting more and more, and how good news is traveling across the internet so quickly with all these emails. We never used to be able to do this, where we're sending each other quick emails or messages on Facebook or on Twitter or all over the place, where we are saying, look at this, have you seen this? And so much of it, at least amongst my friends, is good news. And it's kind of exciting to me, because we are being the change we wish to see. So we're putting smiles on each other's faces, and we're making us laugh and all that good stuff. And sometimes we're annoying each other with way too many of them. I don't have time, and yet I love them, and yet I don't have time. So maybe that's why I love my computer, because I sometimes can spend hours just going through this stuff and smiling and thinking of friends and being reminded of wonderful things and learning so much. And recently something came through one of my emails from a friend, and I thought, wow, this is really great. And so today I thought I would read you this thing that kind of stopped me and made me think. And isn't that what our show is about? Thinking and stopping and looking at things differently and seeing the changes and being the changes and all that good stuff. So this comes from a man who evidently was dying of cancer, and he is a poet, and he decided to check out, at least from the world, to take care of what he needed to take care of. I'm not sure if that meant leaving the planet or just being with himself and his family and his dis-ease. And so he wrote, according to what I read about him, this goodbye poem to his friends and fans and family that he wouldn't be seeing. And this poet is Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And the poem is, If God Forgot. If for an instant God forgot that I am just a puppet, and he gave me one more piece of life, I would take advantage of that time the best I could. I would probably not say everything I think, but definitely think all I say. I would value things not for what they are worth, but for what they represent. I would sleep less and dream more. For every minute we close our eyes, we lose 60 seconds of light. I would continue where others have stopped, and I would rise when others sleep. If God allowed me one more piece of life, I would dress simpler, would wallow in the sunlight, leaving uncovered not only my body, but also my soul. I would prove to men how wrong they are to think that they stop falling in love as they get older, since they actually start getting older as soon as they stop falling in love. I would give wings to the children, but I would leave the children alone so that they could learn how to fly on their own. To the old, I would show them how death comes not with the aging process, but with forgetting. So many things I have learned from you, I have learned that everybody wants to live at the top of the mountain, forgetting that it is how we climb it that matters. I have learned that when a newborn grabs his father's thumb, he takes a hold on him forever. I have learned that a man has the right to look down on somebody only when he is helping him get up. So many things I have learned from all of you. Always tell what you feel and do what you think. If I knew that today it would be the last time that I will see you, I would embrace you strongly to be the guardian of your soul. If I would know that this would be the last minute that I will see you, I would say to you, I love you, and wouldn't assume that you would already know it. There is always morning where life gives us another opportunity to make things good. Keep always close to you your dear ones, and tell them how much you need them and love them, and take care of them. Take time to say, I'm sorry, forgive me, please, thank you, and all the nice and lovely words you know. Nobody would remember you if you keep your thoughts secret. Force yourself to express them. Show your friends and dear ones how much you care about them. Gabriel Garcia Marquez. If God Forgot. Well, I thought that was really beautiful, and it reminded me of something, and I thought, wow, here's something that Gabriel Garcia Marquez forgot himself, and that is smile. Smile more. Smile often. Smile at anybody you can. Smile for no good reason. Smile at yourself in the mirror. Smile when nobody is looking, even you. I was reminded when I was just a boy, my parents took us children to an amusement park, and there was a kiosk that said free smiles. And I told my mom that I was going to run over to the kiosk and see what these smiles were all about. I was assuming they'd give a little button with a smiley face on it, or a t-shirt or something with a smiley face on it. But when I got there, I said, "Hi, I'd like a free smile." And the young man smiled at me, and I said, "I'd like a free smile." And he said, "I'm giving you one." And I said, "Where?" And he said, "Right here, I'm smiling." And I said, "Oh." And as I'm looking around the kiosk, and there's nothing in there, and I'm looking for t-shirts and buttons or something, and there was nothing there. And I looked back at him, and I thought, he's serious. He's just smiling at me. And so I went back to my mom, and she says, "What'd you get?" And I said, "Nothing. He just smiled at me." She says, "Well, it did say free smiles." And I was somewhat disappointed because I didn't get what I was expecting. But in reality, I got more than he actually could have given me, because I got that story. And I hadn't thought of it in all this time. And I'm not going to say that I got this from him, but I smile a lot. And I get told from so many people what a great smile I have. And I don't know if it's because it's a great smile or because I use it. And there was a time when I didn't feel that smile was so great. We might end up talking about that a little later because of our guest. But the point is that I smile, and I need to remind myself to smile more, because it makes a big difference in people's lives, and it makes a big difference in mine when someone smiles at me. So thank you, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, for that beautiful poem, If God Forgot. And if there were anything I would add to that is, please add smile. And so I say this is important and a really great segue to our guest today, who's a very special person and a very beautiful person. And this is inside and out, and this is what makes this all so interesting and amazing. Our guest was she still is, a young British woman who ventured to the U.S. to become the next supermodel and actress in Hollywood. And she had every reason to believe that her career was going to be top model, supermodel, and celebrity actress because of the experiences she was already having in England. And she came here and right away got great agency, and so many things started to happen. And after only 3 weeks of being here, all of that came to a halt. Her beautiful face had almost been completely destroyed, having survived 18 reconstructive surgeries, a brain injury, the loss of sight in one eye, and 252 bolts, screws, and metal plates in her head because of a car accident. She wrote a book, The Magic of the Mask, and now she has a new book coming out, and it's called About Face, and we'll talk about that. Her recovery is ongoing, and yet she is all over the place now. Not many years later, you've seen her on Access Hollywood, on Extra, Fox News, on Larry King Live twice for the full hour, with Oprah, Montel Williams, Ripley's Believe It or Not. You've seen her in Time and Newsweek and Woman's Day, Elle, Glamour, Marie Claire, and People magazine. She is going around teaching people that beauty is inside, yet at the same time she is using her beauty in Hollywood as a model and an actress, the beauty that the doctors have helped her and she has helped bring back to her life. She is also the co-founder of the organization Facing Forward and presently building the Louise Ashby Children's Fund, which aids many children's charities that are in dire need of support. Please welcome to our show a very special guest, Louise Ashby.
Hello.
Hello. You're going to have to move your sexy voice closer to the mic.
I'm coming.
Your sexy voice and your sexy body.
And I'm just smiling.
And you're smiling. When you're smiling.
And I'm holding these things that I was handed.
Yes, you are. These are energy rods, and not that you need energy.
Yeah. I don't know whether to cross my legs or not, because I don't want to block the energy flow in here anyway.
You can do anything you want. Feel free. Be free. Louise.
Filippo.
What a story. This is you.
Well, I mean, I get, people will say what a story and that kind of thing, but to me, because it's my story, it doesn't feel like an incredible story. Does that make sense? Because everybody has a story. Okay, so everybody has a story, and some people don't have one as pronounced, or something that just stops your life and says, you got to look at something. And in your case, it not only stopped your life, but you got to look at something was something you couldn't look at. So it's more of what a lesson, not what a story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, well, let's talk about the lesson. I mean, here you were 21, young and beautiful, and feeling like the world was your oyster.
Yeah.
You're coming to Hollywood, and you had some amazing things start to happen to you right away.
Yeah, basically, I think it was such a huge part of my life because I had been taking care of my mother who had leukemia for 5 years, and she had just passed away. And so then I was taking care of my family, and then we were all separated. And then I started working as an actress and a model a lot, and so I thought it was the right time to make the move to California. And started meeting with casting directors when I got here. I was promised parts in films and on a TV show, got a great agent, and like you said, everything was going my way, and I just didn't think that anything could possibly get in the way of that, but it did. I had the car accident 3 weeks after being here, and it completely changed my life as I knew it, and my appearance, my identity, my career was taken, and it was really hard for my family too. So it was a lot. It was a lot at once.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Yeah.
Wow. So you survived this. Now, through all of this, are you thinking like, I'm not going to make it, or if I make it, I'm going to be ugly or ruined, or I'll never have a career? I mean, what are you thinking?
Well, I didn't see myself in the mirror for the first 3 weeks. I could tell there was something really wrong because of my family were flown out from England, obviously, because they were told that I was going to die. So they were flown out to say goodbye.
Wow.
They didn't tell me that till, after I'd left the hospital, of course. But I woke up in intensive care after being in a coma, and my modeling pictures were on the walls, and I didn't know why. And when I asked somebody why, I was told, to decorate the room, less antiseptic, but it was in fact so the doctors could see what I was supposed to look like. I knew something was really wrong because no one would give me a mirror, and people were looking at the ground when they were talking to me.
Wow. They'd
come in, look at me once, and then suddenly look at the ground.
Wow.
But yeah, I guess because for the first 3 weeks I didn't see myself, and I was surrounded by so much love and support. I mean, it was really like anything for you, Louise. If I said to somebody, oh, I really like that T-shirt you're wearing, have it. And, they'd take off the T-shirt, or anything I said, oh, I like that ring, or blah, blah, blah. And it was like, take it. Although one of my friends did get to a point, he bought something for his girlfriend, and I said, I really like that. And he was like, no, Lou, it's not going to happen. Stop pushing it.
Oh, you started to take advantage
of it? I was like,
this
is really cool. I like your pants. So I think because I had that time to absorb all the love and the energy that was being given to me, it gave me a real boost. And so when I did eventually see myself in the mirror for the first time, I was so concerned about the pain that it would cause everybody else if I was to collapse. I mean, initially when I did see my reflection, I did collapse to the bathroom floor. But
in tears?
Yeah. Yeah, because you're not, there are so many things in your life that you're not prepared for, or that people will say, oh, what would you do if your mom died, or what would you do if your dad died?
But everybody's mother dies. Everybody's
right, but nobody says, what would you do if you completely lost your face?
Right.
Because it's one of the unimaginable things.
Right.
So for that suddenly to have happened, and for the reflection that I saw, it was just intense. And at that instant, I did think, oh my God, I'm an actress. What? No, they have to fix me. But then but I think my initial fear was, oh God, I can't let anybody see me like this. I'm a monster. This is freaky, And so I collapsed on the bathroom floor crying, and then I could hear my dad on the other side of the door, and the pain in his voice was just so hard to hear. And he was saying, are you okay? Are you okay, Louise? Answer me. And because of everything I'd seen my mother go through, I made a decision when I was on that bathroom floor that I had to pull myself together, and that this was too big of a deal, and that if I let myself get depressed, I could go all the way down, and that wasn't to be. I didn't want that to happen, obviously.
And that's a big decision to make at that young age.
Well, for me, I guess it wasn't, because when I was my mother's caretaker.
You had grown up
so
real fast.
I'd grown up at age 15, 16. Suddenly I was being told, I was taking her to the hospital and taking her for her tests and her procedures. And so when she was in a lot of pain or a lot of fear, she would turn to me and say, when I die, you need to make sure that Ollie does this and Abby does this about my brother and sister. And so, in those instances, you can't say, no, don't talk like that, because when somebody is at that point where they think they're going to go, you have to reassure them and say, okay, no, I'll do it, don't worry, but pull yourself together. So It was a lot.
Wow. Well, when we put this up on the website, we said that you had gotten into an accident, and we put accident in quotes because, you had your seatbelt on.
Yes, I did.
And there were other people in the car, and they walked away from the accident unscathed, and you were the only one. And then come to find out, the car had some malfunction, or it was, rebuilt or something, and yours was the only one. And you were the one that was going to be the star, actress, and was using your face. You know what I'm saying? So what kind of accident is that?
I went to see a psychic a few years after I was going, through all the surgeries and everything. I got really depressed from the general anesthetic because it's a depressant. And a friend of mine said to me, Lou, you need to see this woman. She'll really help you make sense of things. And so, I spoke to her on the phone really briefly, and I just gave her my birth information. Didn't give her my name or anything. And when I walked into her house, she said, I have to tell you, yours is one of the most intense charts I've ever read. You've chosen so many things to go through in this life. And she said, and obviously she could see I was disfigured.
At the time.
At the time.
Because I'm looking at a beautiful woman, by the way.
Oh,
and you can all see Absolutely. And the thing is, you don't even have makeup on, and I love that.
Yeah. Well, it's Monday.
It's
makeup-free Monday.
I love that people could just come here thinking they don't have to wear makeup.
Like there's no cameras.
No, and you look great. So
thank you. So the psychic said, she said there's this accident that happened, and it happened to your face because there was stuff that you went through as a child that you never told anybody about. And you thought that it was okay to hide it because you could hide it behind this beautiful face and just smile and as if everything was okay. But because of the journey you've chosen and the experiences you've chosen in this lifetime, it's really important that this stuff comes out. And so it was only by losing your face that you would finally confront what was really going on. And
lose your face and find your life.
Right. And when I wrote The Magic of the Mask, I wasn't really in touch with the truth of what I really saw when I looked in the mirror. How the outsides match the insides kind of thing. But this time, it's really come to the surface that I need to go much deeper than that and write about.
Well, it's interesting, this hiding behind the mask thing keeps coming up, where you're saying, the psychic said to you, you had these things happen as a child and you were hiding behind it because you could just smile and have your beautiful face. Well, then you went through 6 years of having an eye patch.
Yes.
And so then when it was time to remove the eye patch, you wanted to keep the eye patch on because now you were hiding behind the patch because you had this whole identity now with this eye patch, hiding a certain part of your face.
Right.
And so this theme keeps coming up.
Well, I think because my face was going through this transformation, that I had to create a new identity, something that felt comfortable to me. And the only thing that felt comfortable to me was to cover up the disfigurement. And with that, because I, had to face on the inside what I liked about myself and what I didn't like about myself, I combated a lot of the pain with humor. And, but I became known, and people would stop me and go, wow, that's so cool. Why'd you wear the patch? Or, guys would think it was really sexy, and it just became my thing.
Interesting.
And so suddenly, I'm being told, well, you can take the patch off now. It's like, well, who am I? I don't know who I am without the patch. And I don't know if I was really ready to then have to be normal. It was like this whole fight the whole time of I'm different, but then I got so comfortable being different that I suddenly was told I could be normal, whatever normal is again, and I didn't want to be normal.
Interesting.
I wanted to be this different person.
So here you were growing up with all of these things because there was abuse and all kinds of stuff and the cancer and all that, and you could hide behind the face and pretend you're normal. And then this happens, and you're disfigured, and so now you have this eye patch, so you can hide behind the eye patch and say, well, this is my new identity, but the inside of you still hadn't come out even at that point.
Right.
And so here you were writing the book, The Magic Behind the Mask, and there's a lot of truth to what you were writing, and yet you hadn't delved really what was behind the mask.
Not in the book, no.
Right.
No. I had addressed it in myself, but I hadn't spoken out about it.
Okay.
And I think now I'm at a point in my life where if I don't speak out about it, or write it, whether it was published or not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is going to be published, but whether it was or not, it was one of those things that I need to do for me to kind of free it.
Okay, so what's coming out now? What do we have to look forward to someone who has experienced something so traumatic and not only lived to tell it, but lived to have a career again, both in modeling and acting, the thing that you thought you couldn't have once you had this happen to you. So you've come full circle, and yet you're not the same person that started this journey.
Well, the weird thing is that I was going through this whole, journey of being fixed because I wanted to get back in front of the camera again. And then once I was told I was, socially acceptable, the first job I got, the first audition I went for was for a Michael Jackson video, funnily enough. And I had to play a waitress with pain in my eyes. And I was so nervous in the audition because my left eye doesn't look up. And I kept thinking, whoa, my God, I was so self-conscious. I thought, what if they see there's something wrong with the left eye? What if they see the scar? What if they see this? I did the audition. I thought, I'll never get it. And I got a call a couple hours later from the agent saying, Louise, you got it. And then, so I did that, but I was so self-conscious on the shoot. And then I did a couple of, then the first job I got on a movie, I was in the makeup trailer at like 6 a.m, and the makeup artist said, we're just going to do very light makeup. And I said, no way, look at my face, you can't do light makeup. And he was like, well, what happened? So I told him. He was like, oh, you're so brave and all the rest of it. But I was so nervous. And then Eric Roberts was one of the actors in the movie, and he comes into the makeup trailer, and he could only see the left of my face. And he looks at me and he said, wow, they have done an amazing job on you. Are you in the death scene? And I hadn't had any makeup put on yet. And I was crushed. And just the makeup artist looked at me and then looked at Eric. And I said, and I thought, because I also lost a piece of my brain in the accident, which is my inhibitions. And I've got no smell or taste. So I have no impulse control, so I'm honest. And so I told him exactly what had happened, and then he felt really guilty. And but then he told me his story and about stuff that had happened to him. But my point is that once I was in front of the camera again, I wasn't comfortable, which is why I wrote the first book in the first place. And then from the first book, I started getting letters from people who were going through similar experiences, or who had, were just telling me of trauma that they had gone through in their lives. And that's when I decided to do the charity. And that was when I felt the biggest rewards in my life. And I have never felt more alive, more hopeful, more full of light and love.
Wow.
Because suddenly you see what's really important. And then I didn't want to act anymore, because I just wanted to be true and honest.
Suddenly you see what's really important, she says. And it's interesting because I read a quote by Minnie Driver singing your praises and how you're helping people see the beauty inside of them. And so here you are starting this journey at such a young age with this external beauty, ignoring your internal beauty and the struggles that it had been through that were making it such. And now it's those very struggles, that are the beauty that you are bringing out and helping bring out in other people.
I mean, if somebody says something to me like that, it's like I just give them a nudge. We already know it in ourselves. We already know it. I'm not that powerful. You know what I mean? I think that we're all angels of a kind. We're all one light. We just kind of nudge each other and bring out and tell people what they need to hear at certain times.
Well, see, you're now in Hollywood, where you've said so yourself.
Do you mean Hollywood?
And she sings, folks. Da, 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 da.
And now my career in singing has really taken off.
And she was doing a step there. So you know, where beauty, I mean, it's about beauty, right? You said so yourself. And so you're looking to help people recognize that there's more to life than this.
Well, I was asked to leave places when I was disfigured. I mean, people would actually come up to me and say,
wow.
Excuse me, do you mind sitting at the back table because you're disturbing the customers, or no, sorry, there's no room, or would you leave? And I was just gobsmacked that people could be that nasty. But yeah, in Hollywood, you know, of all the places to lose your face, it was a trip.
And that's why I keep getting back to this. There's no accident. So
right.
you now are helping children that are having all kinds of issues. Mm-hmm. But the ones that are disfigured, or the ones that you know, are going through debilitating diseases, you are able to feel something one with them and understand them more than most people.
Well, I think the thing is what you realize, you know, what I really realized when I looked in the mirror for that first time is that this is just a shell, because I still felt the same on the inside. You know, and people are so quick to judge other people when really it's themselves they should be judging if they've got that in them. And, you know, children, all they want is to be loved. And they don't know that they're different or weird, or, you know, that there's something wrong with them. A lot of times it's the parents that will rub, you know, their insecurities will rub off on the children.
Right.
And I just think that people need to wake up to what's really important and just know that if you see somebody with something different, why not realize that they're going through a journey and that it's not for you to judge it. It just makes me sad, because there are so many things that are important that we take for granted, and then suddenly they can be gone in a split second.
And then behind that, there are things that were even more important that weren't looked at.
Right. What are you talking about? He's giving me this look like, and now we're going into this bit. I'm like, what?
You're so
Maybe I should get the rods back. Hold my energy rods.
You are so funny. I couldn't wait for this interview, because everything I saw about you, clips here and there, and that I was reading about you, it's like I feel like I knew you, and that I would have so much fun with you, and I'm like, how come I haven't met her before? But
now let's make you cry.
You're very funny. Okay, so...
Tell me about your childhood, please.
No, we're not going there.
Okay.
You already know too much. That's just it. And that's just it. That's why I feel like I do know you, yes, because as a child I had certain things, I mean, buck teeth, whatever, and though that's minor compared to what you went through, there's that place where we connect and say, gosh, if I went through that and it wasn't as bad as that, her life must have just been, you know, horrible.
Do you know, people, well, first of all, with what you were saying, I think everything is relative, and whether somebody loses their face or is teased for having buck teeth or having acne or whatever,
right,
it all feels the same to us, because we know we're being judged for being different, or
right,
there's something, you know, it will set a trigger. That's it for life. You've got an issue. If somebody comments on your teeth today,
right,
even though they're normal and straight, it probably takes you back to that time. You know, like if I cry for too long, or not for too long, not that I time myself. I guess if I can make it past the 10-minute mark. No, but if I cry, then my face will go red and blotchy, and it looks like I've been punched, or I've got, you know, poison ivy or something, and that triggers the old stuff too, because it's only on the left. Mm-hmm. And now I can't really remember the point that I was getting to.
Well, we were talking about how, it's all relative.
Yeah.
And so, being brought back to certain memories.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, when you cry, you're brought back to, oh no, it's even more pronounced. Maybe you're trying to get at you see it.
Well, somebody, I remember one person saying something once. They went, "Oh my God, look at your face." And even though my face was as it is now, supposedly fixed, the way that they said, "Oh my God, look at your face."
Right.
It took me back to when I was disfigured, when people would go, "Oh my God, look at your face. What's wrong with you?"
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so the shame, so I think what's important is that we have to trace things back to when the trigger was initially put there, if that makes sense.
And is this what you help people do? Because I know you're a life coach.
Yeah.
And so how do you help people with their issues?
Well, basically, people will tell me what's going on, and I can figure out what's blocking them. Tell me where they want to be in their life or what they're going through, or they may be stuck, and I just kind of help them process things and kind of give them, I think because I've had so many different experiences, it kind of makes me intuitive on a certain level to know which direction others should be going in.
And then if you can get over or past something like what you've been through, then some issues don't look as difficult to you. Now, they may be to the person, you were saying, because it's relative.
Right, I guess so.
But you're able to look at it a different way and say, well, have you thought of this, and that?
Right, and also because you can really see what's important and what needs to be appreciated. And sometimes people need to be told what their light is.
Inside.
They can't see it themselves.
Right.
They need somebody else to say, this is what your light is. This is what you're great at. This is what shines from you.
So you see past all the external stuff, not just of their body, but what they're putting up, because this is where you were famous. You could play in that arena.
Right.
It was you who had to delve.
Well, I think because I had those certain experiences, I know what a child looks like who's hiding.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I mean? I can tell.
Even as an adult.
Yeah, I can tell what those things look like because I've been there. I've done that.
Mm.
I know the pains that carry on after taking care of a sick parent and how it affects the family.
So now you have helped countless children and many adults with your coaching. You have had a completely different life than what you started with. And I have to ask you, are you able to look at that experience and say that you are grateful for having had it so that you could live the life that you're living now?
I would not. I don't regret anything that happened, and I don't want to be somebody that lives with regrets.
Wow.
I do regret investing my money with a certain stockbroker who lost everything, because now I'm poor. But that's another story. But that's a whole other story for another show. No, but I don't regret. I don't think anyone should regret, the experiences that they have along the path. I mean, what is it they say? It's not the destination that's important. It's the journey. And
this was, like we did put the quotes around the accident, this was obviously in your journey.
Right.
This was the story that you wrote for yourself somehow.
Right. And I think we all, assess our spirituality from the experiences that we've had, from what makes us feel better in ourselves. Like if I say, well, I was obviously meant to have this accident, and somebody else go, well, how can you see it like that? Because it makes me feel better. Okay?
Leave me alone.
That's how I choose to look at it. And I think that, everyone should stand strong in their beliefs, because that's what keeps us going. And
here you are.
Right.
Strong and beautiful and helping people.
Stunning.
Yes, you are. And very humorous, I might add. You are so delightful. We will have to do something again. It is just, you're just amazing. And I know you're busy. You just got back actually from Vegas, where you were at the NACF conference, the AmeriFace. I mean, helping people. You gave a workshop helping people see past their issues on the outside, right?
Yeah, the workshop was with people who were suffering from disfigurement, and we were discussing how to deal with it on a social level, how to deal with other people's comments.
It's amazing work and very, very important.
Thank you.
One can say, I'm sorry that you had to go through all of this, but I don't know how you could have learned everything that you've learned and you shared with us and you're sharing with so many people without it. So I have to say thank you for being so strong to not only have this experience, get past it, but also be with us and the world and sharing it.
And I want to say thank you for having me on the show and for doing a show like this and putting it out there to the universe.
My pleasure. We're talking to Louise Ashby. And tell us, you have louiseashby.org.
It's actually being reconstructed right now.
Okay.
But it should be up in the next month.
Okay. And the book that's coming out is About Face, and it's coming out in November.
Yeah.
But you could email Louise at ashby.louise@gmail.com.
Yes.
And Ashby is ASHBY.Louise, Louise. And, of course, you can always go to Life Changes with Filippo and find out more about Louise there on the page that we've dedicated to her in this show. And you can hear the show again once you get there if you're interested, or share it with your friends. Because it's an amazing story that I am so glad that you've shared with us. And we've all been changed because of it. Thank you for helping us change the way we look at beauty.
Thank you.
Louise Ashby.
Thank you.
So with that, Louise could have been our luminary this week, and then certainly she is that and more. But we do have Mark Skelton, one of our producers, with the luminary list on the next segment, and he, I'm sure, has somebody also amazing and inspiring, or something else. Or not.
Good evening, Filippo.
Good evening.
I was letting that sentence linger.
Yes.
I was hoping if you come up with another adjective for somebody out there.
How about you coming up with a luminary?
You're on form tonight, Filippo. I like it.
You know what?
It's a good show.
I want to say it feels good. But
after listening to Louise, I'm going to learn to see your inner beauty.
All right, back to the luminary list.
Well, tonight's luminary list, actually, it's a duo. It's two guys, Andy and Mike. They basically are two documentary filmmakers, and they're actually known as the Yes Men. They have a documentary that's currently screening on HBO, but it's done the cinema route, it's done the festival route. It's going to be on DVD any week now. And I strongly suggest our listeners go out and search it, or go onto Netflix and order this film. It's called The Yes Men Fix the World. Now, basically, Andy and Mike, they take on the biggest corporations out there. It's a fascinating story. I'm talking companies like Dow Chemical, ExxonMobil, Halliburton, and even the US government. And basically what they do, the movie covers so many topics. I'll only touch on one here. But basically, at conference after conference, the Yes Men pose as corporate officials, gonzo journalists, and US government officials. And in one scene in particular, Andy poses as a government spokesperson and promises to a believing Mayor Nagin to reopen public housing and force Exxon to pay back $12 billion to restore the region's wetlands as a response to Hurricane Katrina. Mm-hmm. And you should see the faces, the contractors in that conference, their faces drop. It's like, for once truth is being spoken, but everyone, they can see the millions and millions of dollars they're going to lose because of this turnaround by Hub. And it's a complete fake, it's a complete fraud. But Andy and Mike pull it off so well. Like I say, you have to see it to believe it. Now, they were open to a lot of criticism, as you can imagine, for giving people false hope. But the flip side to that was the people who suffered in this area, actually, when they were interviewed, and this is in the film as well, they actually say, we thank these two guys for actually bringing some attention, because if they hadn't have done that, the whole fake, if you like, the whole scheme, then no one would even know they exist. And so you can see this hope. It's actually, it's not false hope, it's a glimmer of hope, because they're getting media attention. And it truly is, and again, so they've been criticised by a lot of people, but what I would actually do to I would challenge our listeners to go and watch it and make up their own minds. So for this week, the luminaries are Andy and Mike, the Yes Men, and watch out for on HBO documentaries or on DVD. Watch the film as soon as you can, and email us. Let us know what you think. I give it a thumbs up.
Well, okay, we're giving thumbs up now. Well, I look forward to that, and I can't wait to see it myself. So thank you, Mark Skelton, for the luminary list this week. And now we have our very own Cosmic Advisor and so much more. This is a segment that so many people are writing in about that they love, and every week is one more interesting than the next. Here is Dorothy Lee with the State of the Universe address.
Hi. The poetic essay that I'm sharing with you all tonight has been sent all around the world on the Internet. The version I'm reading to you has been edited by me as it has been edited by others before me. When I first read it, I loved it, but knew that some things needed to be reworded in order to express the full truth of this awesome underground movement that is enveloping the world. The latest version was sent to me by Fred Burks of www.wanttoknow.info and is an inspiring reminder that we are being deliciously enveloped by a growing spiritual conspiracy. When I first received the essay entitled A Spiritual Conspiracy, I was disturbed by the word conspiracy being used for something so magnificent as this movement. However, after researching the words conspire, conspirator, and conspiracy, I found the word acceptable after all. Although the first definition for conspiracy is a plan to commit an illegal act together, the truth is that to conspire simply means to make a plan. And what a wonderful plan this spiritual conspiracy is. Fred says that conspire, that is, con plus spire, means to breathe with. And I like that definition. He goes on to say this. Increasing numbers around the globe are breathing together as old structures crumble around us. We are conspiring to breathe new life and a new way of living into our world. We know that no matter how crazy things may look on the surface, the universe is conspiring to shower us with blessings. My hope for each of you listening tonight is for you to join this wondrous movement known as a spiritual conspiracy. On the surface of our world right now, there is war, violence, and craziness, and things may seem dark. But calmly and quietly at the same time, something is happening underground. An inner revolution is taking place, and certain individuals are being called to a higher light. It is a silent revolution from the inside out, from the ground up. This is a global cooperation that has sleeper cells in every nation. It is a planetary spiritual conspiracy. If you look real hard, you can find us on TV, and sometimes you can even read about us in the newspapers. And you can definitely hear from us on the radio. We don't seek glory. We don't wear any uniform. We come in all shapes and sizes, colors, and styles. We are in every country and culture of the world, in cities big and small, mountains and valleys, in farms and villages, tribes and remote islands. Most of us work anonymously, seeking not recognition of name, but profound transformation of life. Working quietly behind the scenes, you could pass by one of us on the street and not even notice. We go undercover, not concerned for who takes the final credit, but simply that the work gets done. Many of us may seem to have normal jobs. However, behind the external storefront is where the deeper work takes place. With the individual and collective power of our minds and hearts, we spread passion, knowledge, and joy to all. Some call us the conscious army, as together we co-create a new world. Our orders come from the Spiritual Intelligence Agency, instructing us to drop soft, secret love bombs when no one is looking. Poems, hugs, music, photography, smiles, kind words, movies, meditation and prayer, dance, websites, social activism, blogs, random acts of kindness. We each express ourselves in our own unique ways with our own unique gifts and talents. Be the change you want to see in the world. That is the motto that fills our hearts. We know this is the path to profound transformation. We know that quietly and humbly, individually and collectively, we have the power of all the oceans combined. At first glance, our work is not even visible. It is slow and meticulous, like the formation of mountains, and yet with our combined efforts, entire tectonic plates are being shaped and moved for centuries to come. Love is the religion we come to share, and you don't need to be highly educated or have exceptional knowledge to understand it. Love arises from the intelligence of the heart embedded in the timeless evolutionary pulse of all living beings. Be the change you want to see in the world. Nobody else can do it for you. Yet don't forget, we are all here supporting you. We are now recruiting. Perhaps you will join us, or already have. For in the spiritual conspiracy, all are welcome and all are loved. The door is always open. I give heartfelt thanks to the unknown author of this inspirational essay and pray that it has inspired you as it has inspired me and so many others. And until next week, please choose to love yourself enough to make very conscious and elegant choices. And please know that you are love. You are lovable and you are loved.
Wow, thank you. That is incredible because we hadn't even talked about this, and I started the show with an email that I had gotten, and Dorothy just concluded the show with an email that she had gotten, and see the power of the internet. And I ironically, I get a lot of things, and I read a lot of things, but I had never read that one, and I'd never gotten it before. So, Dorothy, I hope you send that to me because I'm going to want to read that again. I liked that one a lot. There's so much that I've liked about this show. I'm telling you, my heart was in my throat throughout most of it. It just, I mean, I was feeling her, and what do you say? I mean, Louise is an incredible person, and she's come so far and shown us so much in the work that she's been doing, and I look forward to following her and learning more about what she's helping us do and helping children do, and it's just wonderful. So we'd like to thank her again for being on the show with us today. And next week, this is interesting. We've got Johnny Seitz. He's author of Biotyping Beyond Body Language. He is a life coach who transforms lives using his unique body typing method. I understand you just walk into his studio and he can tell you what's going on with you. And I'm supposed to be meeting him this week, and I'm thinking, well, how should I walk? But the interesting thing is how Louise was saying that a part of her brain was missing because of the accident, and so now her inhibitions she's free of inhibitions, so she'll say exactly what she means. And here is another person, Johnny Seitz. He's autistic, and so he is able to use this to the benefit of all because he easily envisions very complex systems known as human biomedics or biomechanics, taking the body language to a whole new level. So can't wait to find out how he does what he does and to talk about it next week. Remember, let's keep this conversation going during the week by visiting us and writing us on our website at lifechangeswithfilippo.com, because through this connection we can be the change we wish to see in the world, and we are affecting and touching so many people. Connect with us also at our Life Changes with Filippo Facebook fan page, or for that matter, any of our personal fan pages. Today's show has been made possible in part by our sponsors, Ionways Water Systems, Change Your Water, Change Your Life, and Love and Miracles. To learn more about them, visit our sponsor page on our website and click on their links. I am Filippo Voltaggio, and it has been my pleasure being of service by hosting Life Changes with Filippo today. I, along with our producers Dorothy Lee and Mark Skelton and Mark Lejeune, and our engineer Seth, thank you for joining us and being part of this show and being part of the change we all wish to see in the world. Ciao.
You have been listening to Life Changes with Filippo. Join us here every Monday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And visit us on the web at lifechangeswithfilippo.com. That's Filippo, Filippo. And follow our community on Facebook at Life Changes with Filippo. Join us here next week as we consciously embrace and explore the only constant, life changes.
Time. Wasn't she beautiful? Yeah, actually, I can't wait to learn about that too. So, and to experience him this week. I wonder what he talks like. I mean, I hope we'll be able to understand him. Are you there, Seth? Okay, well, he's off to the next show. And we are off and running.